Across this country, Americans marked the 24th anniversary of the September 11th terror attacks, pausing to remember the nearly 3,000 lives lost and a nation forever changed. At Ground Zero in Lower Manhattan, the names of victims were read aloud by their loved ones. A moment of silence marked the exact times planes struck the Twin Towers of the World Trade Center. At the Pentagon, the flag was unfurled at the very spot where another plane crashed into the building, killing service members and civilians. President Donald Trump and First Lady attended a memorial ceremony at the Pentagon honoring those victims. And in a field in Shanksville, Pennsylvania, family members laid a wreath at the United Flight 93 crash site, remembering the brave passengers who fought back against the terrorists who hijacked that plane.
Such a somber day. I have been to that memorial in Shanksville when I worked in the White House. The events of 9/11, the memorial events are very closely choreographed, and there's a lot of planning, meticulous planning that goes into how the president and vice president participate. And so when I was there, the vice president went to the Shanksville remembrance that day, in addition to the Pentagon with the president. And it is just really just somber and harrowing. And I am glad that we remember every year so we never forget what happened, not just what happened to us, but the sacrifice of the heroes and the everyday people like those folks on Flight 93 that stopped that plane from going into potentially the White House, the Capitol. We don't know where that plane was going, but they stopped it.
Yeah, it's a tough day for a lot of reasons. But the one thing I take from it is what President George Bush said shortly after the country was trying to gather itself, and it had come together, and they were, people were hugging each other and holding hands and very proud to be American. And the president very soberly said the day will come where all of this will pass, and we will forget how to hug, and we will forget what this moment means. And so this remembrance is important in that regard. And Shanksville, in a particular way, because it is the epitome of American brave, the home of the brave, the men and women on that plane who prevented the worst from happening. And so it's good that the names are read. It's good that the bell is rung. And in the context of how we started this hour, I hope Americans remember the lives lost because of domestic violence, domestic terrorism that has taken school kids, prominent figures, men and women who are trying to chart their own American dream.
In every generation, there is an event that becomes the defining event of the generation. And for our generation, the millennials, it was very much September 11th, where we all of a sudden, many of us were coming of age. It was my first day of college. And we were forced to rethink our place as a country in the world. And that shaped our politics for a very long period of time. And I think today, for this generation that is coming up behind us, the Gen Zers, what is going to be that defining event that shapes the way they see the world, the way they see the United States, and the way they see the role that they are poised to play in the history of making it?
It's such a good question. I think about this generation that, unfortunately, they have had so many events that we could say have shaped them, and there may be many more to come. But I just think on days like today, especially, remembering that feeling post 9/11 of coming together, but also understanding there were some very negative things that came out of that as well, and how we had to overcome that, the Islamophobia and whatnot. But we came
because
together.
We had leaders who helped us overcome it, which is why I referenced George Bush.